Rest assured, everyone, we're here talking Miami football for the next hour with a wholesome one. So dig on in, get into the live chat, leave your comments, your questions, your debate topics. Wholesome one, how we doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Today's a really good day, and we got some good news this morning, so I'm happy.
We appreciate everybody hanging with us here. Sorry for the delay and for the inconvenience, but just had some tech issues in regards to sending links. So we will hopefully do better in the future. But again, it will be well worth it. So jump on in. Here we go. All right. Something that I didn't know that the wholesome one just let me know about is that we've got a home and home series all signed up with the Auburn Tigers in 29 and 30.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, who knows the caliber of teams that either one of us could be by the time this comes around, man. But like I was saying to you before, it's like I've been calling for this matchup for a while. Even to know which programs the money gets filtered in for that part of the decade, we don't know. I mean, for the last decade plus, the SEC has benefited from millions and millions, and at this point, billions of dollars being filtered into their conference, into ESPN contracts and things of that nature. So, who knows if the ACC will be close to that by that time on the latter half of this decade? But it is a very good squad. It's one of those teams where you're going to have to beat Auburn. You don't just hop on the field and it's like, all right, well, my receiver's faster than that corner. We're going to just pick on that dude and destroy him. And it's not a neutral site. It's a home and home. And I'm happy that people were calling out not just the SEC, but the topper echelon of college football for all these dang neutral site games. Do the home and home. But I understand that a lot of teams, from the financial aspect, when you do home and home, they split it. So that's why they wanted to do that for the most part. But with that, the home and home aspect, and having a team like Miami go up to Auburn, or us go to Gainesville, or us go at Notre Dame, or things of those natures, at Texas A&M, which is happening. If not next season, I think the season after is at Texas A&M, and next season Texas A&M comes here. But either way, it's nice to be able to see Miami going out and putting our product on the football field in some really good environments.
Auburn's a program that I would rank anywhere from 10 to 15 in the country as a program. I'm not talking about this particular team that's going to hit the field in 2021. And certainly a good barometer for the Miami program. Again, considering that we're sitting here in 2021, even before we've played this football season in 21, and we're talking about 8 and 9 football seasons away. So just think back to 2011 or 2012 and some teams that were really good then, or some teams that weren't so good that are better now. Who knows? My guess is that Auburn's going to still have a pretty highly ranked powerhouse of a program to a certain extent, and Miami's going to hopefully improve and be a factor at that point. But again, who knows? That's why I don't even think these programs should be running around scheduling games for 10 and 12 years from now. I would do it completely different.
Yeah, I know that's been a big conversation for a little bit now, because you just don't know where you're going to be. 2 or 3 years from now, cool. I think that's not too far away. It's a nice time frame to where you can judge where your program will be and how you can help that program grow to prepare for a game like this. But uh, 8, 9 years from now, either way, I'm happy. It's one of those things where it's not like I called it, kiss my feet, but it's just like, hey, we're happy to see this type of thing go up, and to be able to get teams like Clemson and teams like Notre Dame and teams like Auburn and Texas A&M to be coming to Hard Rock Stadium over next in Florida. Like, just be able to get them to be on contract to come to our home stadium also. That's big. That's big for Miami.
Absolutely, it is. One more shot for me on the scheduling thing would be that I would completely take it out of the hands of the schools. It would be scheduled by the powers that be, the governing body of college football, much like the NFL or any other organized organized sport, there would be a governing body that would schedule the games. I think it's just dumb that programs run around and schedule their own games.
Yeah, I just think when it comes to stuff like that, Mark, I think if you're able to go out, find a body, we don't need to know these people. We don't need to know where these people come from. We just have to be able to have a nice, I would say three. I think if you go past like 13, 15, 18 people, that's just too many opinions. But I mean, maybe you got one former head coach, one former AD, and one former player, whatever. But they sit down and they discuss it and basically just go based off of. I think the NFL does it too, but basketball does it well also, where it's like based on how you played last year. So the third best team will play the third best team from the Big Ten or whatever, and you do it that way. It's and I wouldn't even mind another conference realignment because I think there's some teams like West Virginia and things of that nature who I wouldn't mind in the ACC who I think it would help them geographically and conference wise to join a different conference.
I've got a whole scheduling formula. People can check that out if you want to run to my main channel and look up college football scheduling or ACC scheduling or whatever. I run down what I believe should be done with the whole thing. All right. Jump on in, folks. Let us know what you got. Appreciate everybody being here. A ton of hashtag live squads. And we got the wholesome one for the next hour. So since we saw you last, anything on the recruiting front? Anything in your evaluation of players that jumps out?
It's been doing way better, man. Shamar Stewart has been on campus 4 times, including the last time we spoke. I think he was on there twice. He's been on to the barbecue. He's been on one unofficial. He came with his team, and then also came on another unofficial after visiting Ohio State. So he's the number 1 defensive end in the country. Miami is in good position because defensive end is a position that we have been producing very well. Even in some of our horrible 6-7, 7-6 seasons, our defensive ends have been doing very well at Miami, and that speaks dividends. Of course, you want to win games and put a great product out there, but production is what these young men look at. You got a defensive end out here with 15.5 sacks, and next you got one with 10.5 and one at 9.5. The other one gets 8, 7, and 4.5. You're starting to produce defensive ends, and this scheme has been around for a while. People have been really adapting to how to play the strong side defensive end position at the University of Miami in a 4-2-5 attack defense. We've been very productive in that system, on par with some of the people from Bama, from Georgia, from LSU, as far as production-wise. That's I think that puts us in a great position with the number 1 defensive end in the country. He's one of those young men you can't allow to leave. Just that simple, Mark. You can't allow a young man like that to sneak out of your backyard. Yeah, we speak about it every week, Mark. Any team in the country would love to be geographically close to all this talent as the University of Miami is, and that's why we're viewed as kind of a mess up. You could replace that word with whatever else word you want to use, but it's how we've been running things because it just doesn't make any sense. You got a 10-mile radius of some of the best 4 or 5-star players in the country. So it doesn't make any sense, and we're working on pulling away from those things. And I love it.
I'm having some keyboard issues, so I'm not able to look up anything here. But Shamar Stewart, I know he was in Columbus, Ohio, here in the last week or two. Visiting Ohio State.
LSU. He was at LSU last week, too.
Okay.
And after both of those times, the very next day replaced it with coming back to Miami. So I had the ongoing joke on my channel, like he just went there to see and then come back to see if Miami is still on par with what he just saw at LSU. He goes up to Columbus and sees if Miami is on par with what he just saw up at Ohio State. Are we near any level of the same programs as those people? Nah, not right now. Not at all. But when it comes to what we can do for him specifically as a defensive end, not a future 3 technique like some of the people are trying to push. That guy is a strong side defensive end who can rush the passer for the University of Miami.
Rod D asking, do you think Elijah Roberts needs to go to defensive end?
I wouldn't say he needs to. He's a swing player. Okay, when you talk about someone who's pushing about 280, 285 right now, they can swing back and forth from strong side defensive end to three technique if need be. We are having an issue with strong side defensive end right now, presumably, because none of us have been at practice. Okay, all we have to do is go off of that spring game. You have number 53 over there. You also have DeAndre Johnson, the transfer from Tennessee. Those two are the ones battling on the strong side defensive end. So it's a big question mark for all us Miami Hurricanes fans is who is going to set themselves apart at that position, a position that is super important in this defense. We need that strong side defensive end. So you even had people who were saying that Leonard Taylor can play strong side DN. Lord Jesus, Mark, the man 6'4", 314, and they want him at strong side defense. That just means us as fans are trying to figure out what the heck can we do out there. And you got guys like Elijah Roberts who can help us. You can also swing Jafari Harvey, who the last two seasons has been backing up the best defensive end off the strong side. In 2019, he backed up Greg Rousseau. In 2020, he backed up Jalen Phillips. And he did pretty well with his production. He has a 2 sacks and a half to his name off of 2 seasons as a rotational guy. He has 8 TFLs to his name as a rotational guy. So when he gets in, he makes the play. Not necessarily saying he's a world beater just yet, but he comes in and he does what he can in the rotational snaps. I see him battling for a starting position this upcoming season, whether it be on strong side or the weak side, because the conversation on the weak side now stems from you got Jafari Harvey. You also have Chance Williams from a 4-star we talked about from 2 years ago. You also have Cam Williams, the 6'5", 235 pounder. They say he's 240. I want to see if he's really 240 when we get out there on the field. So it's very young and inexperienced at defensive end. Besides the older guys, but those older guys haven't done much here in Miami in orange and green. It's just that simple. So I think a lot of us are just trying to figure out what the heck is Miami going to do on that side. That's all it is.
You Miami fans are charitable people, so thank you so much for that. We appreciate the super chats coming in. I want to remind everyone that this particular show, this entire channel, runs because of you. So there are a number of revenue streams that we can pursue and also appreciate your contributions. So you can send them via the super chat right here, or if you so choose to bypass YouTube, you can go to Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App. Just search Mark Rogers TV. Should be pretty easy. Others have done it. So just go to Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App. But I want to remind you that if you're contributing specifically here, then make note of that to this particular show. Falconer X, thank you so much for the super sticker. Appreciate that. We also have our man Ronan, of course. There it is. Don't forget to leave a like and a support the vision. Keep up the great work, gentlemen. Go Canes. So Ronan, not even with a question, but always here, always contributing. Ronan for several weeks here recently had to work, but would remind me that he's watching, he's here, he's contributing. Ronan, appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for that. And here we've got King Kane 305. H1H, who do you think will be our breakout player against Bama? Well, hopefully you've got a few.
Okay, can I give you a couple?
Absolutely.
I'll give you 2 on O and 2 on D. Now, I've been very critical when it comes to my assessment of the game versus Alabama. I've done a lot of reevaluation, and I still think that the University of Miami would be in a very, very, very tough out to win this game. But with all the question marks and the returning players, there's a couple guys that we could actually attack. All right. Now, there's a former Miami Hurricanes commit by the name of Josh Jobe. Do you remember that guy, Mark?
Absolutely, I do.
Okay. Now, Josh Jobe was very disrespectful and his decommitment and disrespect of the University of Miami transitioning from Miami to Alabama. You talk about a young man that had some issues off the field, which I won't get into because I don't want to attack him as a person. But he had some issues in their spring game. I don't know if y'all were watching the spring game, but
I did.
you had redshirt freshmen, and walk-ons like killing this dude in man coverage. Miami would have to go out there and prove the situation. We would have to have somebody get out there, maybe a Charleston Rambo, because he is their number one corner. So we would have to have a Charleston Rambo go out there and really take advantage of their one-on-one opportunities to make the plays. Okay. That's one of the matchups. So for me, I'm going to say Charleston Rambo is one player I have as a breakout versus Alabama, just due to who he's going to be going up against. The second person I'm going to pick on offense is De'Aaron King. Now, that's taking an easy route. But here's what I mean by that. De'Aaron King is very, very protective of our football. He does not put it in bad situations. If he doesn't like it, he'll eat a sack or throw it away, to much of the dismay of a lot of our Miami Hurricanes fans, because, of course, we want to go out there and win by 40 every dang week. But what he does is he makes sure not to put the ball in harm's way too often. All right. And I think going up against a team like Alabama, who is going to lean on their run game and lean on their defense, especially in the first half and in this first game, until we make it known, you're going to have to pass. Okay, if our defensive line shows up, our linebackers fill gaps, then they're going to eventually have to pass. And once they do, we have to make a play on it. If they do catch it, we got to ride it to the ball, and get them down on the ground. Okay, before they hit the first down mark, or before they hit us over the top for a big touchdown. So when it comes to De'Aaron King being one of my guys, I think he's going to keep us in this game. He's not going to give them the pick six that like Malik Rozier. Remember, it was rough for a little bit, and then Malik Rozier threw that pick six, and the LSU game just got blown out of water. Just the dam broke, and it just fell on us. There was nothing that we could do. Okay. We're going to need somebody, not necessarily a game manager. You're going to want a gamer. You're going to want somebody that's going to take a chance or two, but not the chance that just ruins you. You know, you get what I'm saying, Mark? Not where they've taken away your first read and your second read, and they know that you are going to go to this check down. They know that you're going to go to the tight end in the flat, and now that linebacker breaks on and catches it in stride and takes it to the end zone. Now you just made 7-3, 14-3. Now you got to get the ball and try to do it again. Oh, strip sack. And then boom. Now it's 21-3, and there's nothing we can do to stop the bleeding. Now you're talking about North Carolina-esque, where it just gets bad. I think that De'Aaron King will avoid anything like that happening. On the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to go with light-skinned warrior Bubba Bolden. That dude, I wouldn't be surprised if he had an interception in this game. The way he baits quarterbacks, I think he's going to be able to catch him an interception. I don't know about two, but I think he's going to get him one. And who else? I'm going to take a wild card in this one because I don't think people see him coming. I'm going to say Jafari Harvey. Jafari Harvey and Bubba Bolden on the defensive side of the ball. Those are going to be my two breakouts, man. Because it's not a lot of film on this guy. He's not the 6'6", 6'5" guys that we've had recently. He's more of a quicker toolbox kind of player, more like a Trent Harris than he is a Greg Rousseau. But the man he has a knack for making plays. So that's where I'm going to go.
I'm going to ask this question, not just about the Alabama game, but in preparation for the entire season.
Yeah.
Once we hit August camp, which we're about 6 weeks away.
I can smell it, Mark.
Just about 6 weeks away. We'll go to ACC Media Days about a week or so before that. And then once that hits, I know at least the way I view college football, and I got to dive into those media days, and I got to be listening to every coach and every player and trying to cut videos, and we're not just talking about the ACC. Like I'm watching all of them across the country. So man, I'm on a full train ride after that from media days through the national championship game nonstop. So once we hit August camp, what unit? Of course, you're going to be like everybody else in the position where you're just trying to get information, just trying to get as much video, as much information as you can to know what's going on. But if you could be right there in the middle of all of it, what group would you be looking at thinking this is the group that really needs to work hard, improve, and get prepared for this season? Like if we let you into camp with a pass, but you could only follow one positional group. You couldn't go watch anybody else. You had to lock in for 30 days and follow one positional group the entire time.
Oh man,
And
I
give
had
us a
my
scouting
answer,
report.
when you said that, I gotta switch it because I would want to be able to be in the mud with this one. I'm gonna say cornerbacks, man. Everyone's on linebacker, and I get that. But if you're telling me I get a chance to, I get to be a fly on the wall, Mark. I get to come into film. I get to go out to 1-on-1s. I get to go to 9-on-9 and 7-on-7 and full. And I get to sit with one coach and evaluate one position. I'm definitely going to sit there with DVD/T-Rob and watch these cornerbacks. As a big man who's been in the fronts my entire life, the only furthest I've gone back is linebacker and fullback. That's it. But either way, that position is so intricate. We gotta have it. We have to have it. It's not just a Bama game. That position has been putrid at Miami for a decade. Now, yes, you could bring up a couple guys who've done well. Okay. Yeah, you could turn out Artie Burns. You could talk about Corn Elder. You could talk about Malik Young. But as a whole, okay, not anomalies. We're talking about the larger percentage. Bro, man, cornerback has been putrid in recruiting. Cornerback has been bad on the football field. That position, Mark, we're in Malik Jackson, not Malik Jackson. Michael Jackson was a really good one too. Trajan Bandy had a good season. That's it. But you got to do it, man. You got to be able. We have to have that big step up, and I think it comes from the intangibles. We've had some guys who are long, strong. We've had shorter, quicker guys. We've had the high football IQ guys. We have not been able to develop them as a whole just yet, and that's where we needed a position like cornerback, man, because it's nothing like being able to have them locked down corners, Mark. It's nothing like it. It's not the easiest thing in the world. I understand that. I think cornerback is one of the hardest positions to play in sports, period.
Sure.
Because, Mark, you take one play off, you can lose the freaking game. Like the one play, you're like, I'm kind of tired. And the dude jogs off the line and then pew, flies right past you.
Yeah.
Like, man, it can be tough out there.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, those guys, when they say you're out on an island, that's exactly, whoever came up with that term came up with a pretty good way to describe it, because you got all that grass around you, just grass on either side of you, behind you, and you're staring at an elite athlete in front of you who can do whatever he wants. You don't know where he's going. Mm-hmm. And with the way these passers are drilling them in there these days and throwing in tight windows, you can even be on him most of the time. But between the skill of the thrower and the ability of the receiver, even if you're right on him, to high point the ball, wrestle it away from you, pluck it out of the air. Yeah, tough position to play.
Cornerback that's tough, man. And it's a position that I also think me and Dante Colon speak often Dante's a frequent of the channel and your channel, a lot of channels, honestly. And he says that he thinks cornerback is one of the um, worst coached positions. Also, you got a lot of guys who are just like, "Oh, well, you fast, just turn around and look for the ball." Coach, teach me. Okay, teach me how to read routes. Teach me how to understand route combinations and down and distance and formations. Teach me how to read tendencies and certain stances that wide receivers come out of. Be able to have that great conversation with your defensive coordinator. You guys sit and watch film. You're like, hey, I know this offensive coordinator. He's a wide receiver guy. He's gonna have his receivers on point, but on certain downs, they're gonna give it away because when he comes out in certain packages, they're gonna cheat a little this way, and then they're gonna have that slant, and they're gonna try to rub you. So what you got to do is go over top. Don't go over underneath because you're not gonna catch it. Go over top. Make sure you keep your shoulders parallel to that first down, and the ball will be right there. Those type of things. You got to be able to have that true coaching at that position, and it's not an easy position to coach because there's so many factors that can happen in a cornerback in a simple play. I mean, heck, you could play the great coverage, and you could be running stride for stride, and it's Andre Johnson, and they just do a fade route, and you're like, all right, you just gotta jump and see what happens. And you put the hand up there, you're trying to rake it, but his grip strength, and he just rakes it away from you. And you just like, I don't even know. I don't know. I'm sorry, coach. You just gotta get up and it's another one of those positions where you gotta have amnesia. You gotta be able to let that one play that you gave up go, hop up and if you get beat, make the damn tackle, and then hop up and get the next call because the game is going like this, man, and you can't let something like that really mess with your head. And it's not the easiest thing. But
if I'm watching a game where I've got no rooting interest, and I'm just watching football and just want to see a good game, those are the guys that I love to watch, and those are the guys I love to watch all the positions, obviously. But in regards to what you just said, I feel bad when I see that cornerback who did everything right, everything he possibly could, but that ball was placed exactly where it needed to be, and that receiver was just elite and just wrestled it away from him. It is a tough position to play. I do not envy those guys whatsoever.
It's wild, man, because of course, like I said, being a big guy my whole life, it's like, yeah, bro, just catch the dang ball. Like we talk about wide receivers, just catch the ball. Like it's not hard. You gotta do is ring route, catch the ball. Then you talk about cornerbacks. It's like, bro, don't let him catch the ball. That's it. Just swap the ball down. Don't let him catch the ball. Then I got into coaching, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, that's not easy. That's not easy to do. And you talk about having to cover, you're going backwards at the same speed as someone is building up going forward, and you don't know where they're going. They could go inside, they go outside, they could turn back around, they could stop and go. They can fake out and cut back in. Any little step you give up to step out of place, they have a step on you, and now you have to. Man, you got to be able to be greatly coached. And I think T-Rob is one of those names. It's a tough position when there's only like a handful of greats who have developed and produced really good ones. That's how the position is not easy at all. You got Corey Raymond, Coach Raymond at LSU. He's a big name. A lot of people after that talk about T-Rob. LSU's cornerback coaches. That's T-Rob. Ohio State is who I'm talking about. The cornerback coach at Ohio State. They've been producing just like over the last 5-6 years. I think they've had like 4 first-round corners, 3 first-round safeties. Like DB is pretty big there too. So there's only a couple. Even at Alabama, as great as the positions that they've had, cornerback has not been one of them. Like safety has been really good. You had Cyrus Jones a couple years ago. He was more of a punt returner, but he was a nickel corner guy also. It's a tough one.
Richard Hill, I'm going to take your lead right here. He says, hit the like button. Great show. So everybody listen up. We get the wholesome one for 1 hour every week. So take advantage. Also appreciate it. And appreciate, I hope, the entire channel and this specific show with the wholesome one. So hit the like button. Also, the way you can help us build this particular show and the entire channel. And for those of you that root for other teams and join us on all the live streams, this holds true for all the live streams. But you Miami fans, of course, if you just love this show and just want to build and grow this show, that's how it's going to keep going, by building. So if you get the link out on social media, spread the word, whether you retweet what the wholesome one sends or what I send, or grab the link, send it out there on social media, or just talk to people that love college football, people that you know that you talk to all the time in your family, your friends, just people that you know at work that love college football. Let them know that we are here every Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern time. And if they can't make it live, you can't make it live, of course, catch the replay.
The
Get that
hashtag
rewatch squad. Bam.
Yes, sir.
And of course, you can always contribute. That's part of it as well at the Super Chat, and also Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, MarkRogersTV. And if you want to contribute specifically to this show, let me know right there. All right. The Stew Boys, any word on Donald Chaney?
Yes. So a lot of people don't know this, but Donald Chaney Jr. had off-season surgery. I have to say that slow because I want to have an H somewhere in there, like off-season surgery, but I gotta say that one slow. On his shoulder. That's what H is. Off-season
shoulder surgery.
Yeah. There you go. Don't say,
it can
say
be
that
tricky.
3 times fast.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and I'm a calm nature. Say that 3 times fast. It's not the easiest thing to say. Anyhow, and people know how important the shoulder is. It is connected to all your upper muscles, man. And when it goes bad, it's really tough to maintain your strength. It's really tough to maintain any function in that arm for the most part. So he's been out with that injury, and word is, Mark, he may not even be ready until midway through training camp, first week of the season. I don't know if he'll be in play shape, but he'll definitely be practice ready. I think he'll be one of those guys that'll hop on the latter half of the season, maybe like week 5, week 6, and just take off. I'm sorry. I wish I could sugarcoat it and tell you everything's perfect, but until otherwise, as of right now, he's going to be out for a little bit with that shoulder injury.
We appreciate everybody being respectful in the live chat, so we encourage trash talk, and I understand that doesn't necessarily coincide with being respectful, but you know what I mean in regards to just keeping your trash talk to college football and just, having a great debate, conversation in the live chat. Please do not throw away or throw out any expletives. That has nothing to do with me. But in terms of YouTube catching on to those, and sometimes they wheel down some penalties and some restrictions for that. So I will be eliminating any comments that I see from the live chat that have any expletives. So I see a few from No Quit in particular. So we're going to knock you out for a few minutes. All right. C. John, off-topic question for the wholesome one. Who are some of your favorite throwback Canes? But a little caveat here, not necessarily the obvious guys. Maybe some of the guys that people don't necessarily think of or talk about, like a Craig Cooper.
I've talked about Denzel Perryman as my favorite Cane of all time. So I'll give you a couple unsung hero Canes that I really liked. Allen Bailey. He wore number 57 here. He was recruited as a linebacker, and this young man didn't lift weights in high school. The minute he started lifting weights, he was pushing like 280 by his sophomore season, and he moved to defensive end, and then basically on third downs was a defensive tackle. He was that big. Still playing in the NFL right now. I think it's like 12 seasons or so later, and he's still in the NFL. Okay, he was a long-time Kansas City Chief, and he also played for the Falcons as of late. But he was one of my favorite guys because Mark, this dude's arms look like everybody else's thighs. The dude is just massive. Okay, he's just a massive dude, and he's only like 6'3", so he's not the longest. He's kind of shorter compared to edge rushers or defensive ends in today's game, and he's very just like built. I don't like using certain terms like jail strength and prison strength, prison workouts. I don't like that type of weird stuff. So I would just say he's very built, man. He's big time. Um, Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham. Take you back to 2009, the one season he played at Miami. Jimmy Graham, once he learned how to catch the ball, because he had real big catch problems at Miami early on. But once he ended up having like 8 touchdowns in one season. He was a red zone threat. Like you couldn't stop him. And this is with Corey Harris and that team. So I really was a big 80 fan with Jimmy Graham. Travis Benjamin is a big name guy. Everybody knows who that is. So Brandon Harris was one of my favorite corners growing up too. Played in the NFL, played for the Dolphins. Shorter guy, but he was like a 5-star all-around player for us out of Booker T. Washington. Uh, who else before that? Marcus Forston was a little iffy. Um, Darius Johnson had the name, but never really pulled it together. Mike James. I don't know if you know that name. Nephew of Edgerrin James. He wore number 5 at the University of Miami. He was a fifth-year guy here at Miami. Left here as a redshirt senior, was a Senior Bowl invitee in like 2011, had to be 2012. So Duke Johnson comes in, right, in the class in 2012. That class had Deion Bush and Tracy Howard and Malcolm Lewis and Duke Johnson, people who held the fort down when Miami wasn't doing too well, right? So this this guy, he just had a knack of leadership. And Duke Johnson, this is back when we used to do Rising Canes, which was like a mini documentary we did after every practice at Miami, and it released the next day for the previous practice. That was something that I used to love doing. Coach Diaz, I was able to call this Auburn thing. Coach Diaz, please bring back Rising Canes. Please. We loved it. It's not a distraction. It's amazing for the fans, man. We really love it. Anyhow, um, for all we know, Mark, maybe another reason why they stopped doing that is because the people who did it graduated. Maybe that's the thing too. I mean, we are dealing with a college, so people do
Yeah.
filter in and out.
Yep.
So maybe that was it. But anyway, Mike James. So they're going through practice, and Duke is there, and you're going from um, one side to another and things of that nature. Like you're going all over the field, right? For different practices and different things. Like you'll have one side is over there doing ladder, then you run across the field, and on that side of the field they're doing bag drills. Then you get up and you break it down. 1, 2, 3, ready to go. And break it. You run to the other side of the field. Then that guy, they're doing burpees, and then the burpee. Then you go side to side, boop, 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 side to side, and you go back down. Things of that um, in that way. So Duke was really like lost. Okay, he was lost in this particular day, and I remember him saying like he got up the mic and he was like, "Yo, are we almost done?" And Mike was like, "Nah, man, come on, Rook, like follow me, freshie." And then from that day forward, Mike James was our starter in 2012. And he held off like a 4-star, borderline 5-star from starting, and that really helped Duke Johnson not get beat up as a freshman. He came in on third downs, he was putting kick return, and he was able to use them in that light. So that's really good for him. But yeah, Mike James is one of my guys too.
I guess I'm going to have to add this to the guidelines of the chat as well. Let's not be taking shots at people. So we're going to eliminate you as well. All right, BGPO Football Funk. Appreciate the super chat contribution right there. Did Clemson give the U its worst loss of all time? Are we talking about, like, you can look that up in a record book. So if you're talking about just technically by points, it was the worst loss of all time, or if you're talking about like an opinion, like watching the game, hey, this is the worst beatdown. You know what I mean? Like there are two ways to look at it. There is technically, yes, for every team, a worst loss ever. You can look it up. All you have to do is Google it, and it's going to say Miami worst loss ever. Boom. It might be 58-0 to Clemson. That might be it. I'm guessing with the way Miami was playing football pre-1980,
there's a couple blowouts in there too.
I'm guessing that there were other ones before that, although teams weren't scoring as many points back then, but still.
Yeah, which is why people revere that Nebraska team so high. Because I mean, they were blowing people out and just running the ball. So they were scoring like 50 and 60, and they were just running the ball. I don't know, man. I guess you could say yes, the 58 scut is the worst, but if you want to talk about what hurts more, people look at that FIU loss as rock bottom. People look at UNC last year as rock bottom. La Tech, a lot of people really don't care. It's like, it was a no-nothing bowl game. We didn't care. It showed. We lost like what was it, 14-0? Like it was just one of those. Just you're muted, Mark.
Yeah, that's another way to look at it. Is just who was the worst opponent we lost to? Maybe that was the worst loss. I know a lot of people took the Virginia game hard because it was the last game at the Orange Bowl, and to lose like they did 30-0, 43-0, something like that.
It didn't even look like, for less of a better word, Mark, it looked like the players didn't even give a damn. Like we just looked lost. It was bad. I mean, shoot, you got fourth and 17 from 2 years ago when the birth of Sam Howell's talk is what he did against us on 4th and 17 and got that first down, and then ended up going down to throw the game-winning touchdown. When we literally had back-to-back sacks. The game was over. Like we were done. We were going to be 1-1 moving forward. Nope. They get Fort Trajan Bandy's covering no one and doesn't drop back. He's sitting. Oh, God.
Yeah, I remember it.
That one makes me want to flip a table, bro.
And I'm looking up the Virginia Miami
what is
game.
1804 Hurricane talking about? No, I'm talking about Mike James, who played here in 2012. He was here 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. He redshirted. What do you mean? It's not Jarvis James. I'm talking about Mike James, who wore number 5 for Miami. Look it up, buddy. Anyhow,
that really bothers me when, like you brought up Mike James, and you said, "Do you remember Mike James?" And I'm thinking very vaguely, and then I'm thinking as soon as you say, "Well, he was our starting running back up until Duke Johnson 2012," then I'm like, it just bothers me that I'm thinking, okay, well, he was the starting running back at Miami, and I watch 5 or 6 games a year. I must have seen him play 15 or 20 times, but I'm not really remembering anything from him.
Again, 804 Hurricane. I said he was the nephew of Edgerrin James, not the cousin. So learn what you're talking about before you speak. Come on, man. Like, you're tripping, man. Hey, Terrence funny. Mike Jones. Who? Mike Jones. But he switched it with Mike James. That's an old song. I don't even know. That's a pretty funny song. But hey, good job, man. Good job picking that up there. But yeah, I just don't get what the hoopla of that one is. But whatever, man. Anyhow, those losses hurt, Mark. And of course, you want to get to the point where it's like we only have a handful of losses. Like You look at, of course, everybody. Kansas State would love to be Bama. You know, Iowa State wants to be Bama. You know, everybody wants it to the point where it's front page news if you lose a football game. You lost a football game because you ran into this elite team or player or a miracle happens, you know. That's how we want it to be. So I get it. I get it. I mean, we have like 8 or 9 really tough losses, and it's subjective. You know, it's up to you. Whatever hurts you more. I mean, people know I'm a big Tallahassee loather. Any of those losses really hurt me. I think one of the biggest losses for this program was the 2014 loss to Tallahassee. That's like up there with me. You know, 2016 hurt too because it was a blocked extra point. Oh, but that 2014 one hurt because it was a direct issue with a guy that should have been fired way too soon because he just wasn't a fix here. He wasn't a fit here at Miami with the 34 defense. And for you to give up 28 unanswered points to lose the game by 3 in the second half, and you had no adjustments for their adjustments. Unexcusable, Mark.
Yeah, I remember that 2016 game that Richard Hill is referring to, as you just did. And it's one of those things that, again, I'm watching that game and I've got no rooting interest. I'm just watching the game. But you know what happens when you score a touchdown late and you're down by 1 because of the extra point being what the extra point is, almost automatic, that a lot of people are just like going crazy. And, you know, if it's 28-27, you just assume, well, we'll make the extra point. It's tie game. You know, I've even heard announcers say, you know, if a team's down by 7, they score a touchdown, and then they'll be like, tie game, you know.
Tie game.
Everybody just assumes, you know, that it's a tie game because you're going to make the extra point.
And that's how it used to be, Mark. You like extra points were easy money. That's why I understand people who moved it back to add a little drama. I know for a fact they've done it in the NFL. College football is still at the 3, right, Mark?
Oh, they're still at the 2.5. Yeah.
Okay.
The NFL, they're back to the
15.
Yeah, they're at the 15. It's a 32-yarder. So it's gone from being like, it got to the point in the NFL, it was like 99 point something percent. So it's like, why do we do this? So they moved it back, and now I know it's still way over 90%, but it's you got to watch it. We see since they changed that in the NFL, which I'm guessing would have been maybe 3 to 5 years ago, something in that range, that there have been games blown by extra point misses that never happened before. So it's at least interesting.
That happened to my Ravens in 2019. We were playing the Saints in a shootout, and we made like a 20 or so point comeback. This is before we started Lamar Jackson. We still had Flacco as the starter QB, and Justin Tucker, who was statistically the best kicker in NFL history, missed an extra point, and we lost like 41-40 after a great comeback. So it happens. It happens.
And Justin Tucker also missed the field goal against the Patriots in the AFC Championship game, correct? Who was that?
No. We drafted Justin Tucker because Billy Kidman missed it. That was the kicker before Justin Tucker.
Okay.
He missed it. Lee Evans dropped it.
Yes.
In the near side corner
of
the end zone. And then Bailey went for the kick, and he shanked it.
Yeah.
He shanked it.
Yeah, it was a 3-point game. Most likely would have won by 4 with the Lee Evans catch. Yeah, I remember that well. The Patriots have been phenomenal, but it drives me crazy how many times they've been let off the hook.
Yeah.
D Ford let him off the hook a couple years ago.
Because what's his name would have went to 4 straight Super Bowls or something like that? Or was it 3? Because it would have been 18, 19, 20. So he would have gone to 3 if D Ford wasn't offsides.
Yeah.
Pat, my homeboy. And then this year they're going to go again, so that'll be 4. But Could you imagine going to 4 straight national championship games?
Get to one, brother.
Yeah, that's it. Just be happy about that opportunity. I don't know how soon that is for Miami. I'm not here to predict that either. I'm just saying, like, what a blessed opportunity that would be to be able to do something like that.
Appreciate everybody being here talking Miami football with the Wholesome One here on a Thursday. We're here every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So tell people that we're here talking the Canes. All right. Anything upcoming for the next week? Another weekend of recruits coming in, of course.
Yeah, so we got another week. We also have Kamari Rogers' commitment this weekend, I believe. I'll be corrected either in the chat or later, but I do think that he's committing this weekend. I know one of the Rogerses is committing on the 4th, and one is committing this weekend. So I'll be corrected. I'll stand corrected. And if I'm wrong, that's okay. Won't be the last time, and that's all right. But for me on my channel, we finally started the H1H, of course, the H1H podcast, but we've been dropping the H1H certified highlight tapes. We dropped De'Aaron King's highlight tape this past Tuesday. We already at like half a stack, so about 500 or so views. Go ahead and check that out. It's an action-packed 6 minutes of some really good play. And Mark, I tell you what, it was such an exciting opportunity to sit and watch the season, looking for the good. Not there to critique, not there to overanalyze. Find what our players did right, put it together, and show them some love. I will have a highlight tape for every returning starter. So, Mark, if you need some film to back up some of your players to watch out for, I think that'll be really cool. If you used a little bit of the highlight tape, you can. If you want to. If you don't, that's okay. But anyway, just it's exciting, man. I got Takori Couch is dropping tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And next week, we're going to do 2 a week. Some I'll do 3, but we're going to do 2 a week for now. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going to drop it. Next week, Tuesday, is one of my favorite players, the light-skinned warrior, Bubba Bolden. It's 8 minutes of jam-packed highlights, hits, picks, swap balls, and leadership. And I can't wait to release it. You guys may not like some of the music, and that's cool. I made sure to make it clean this year so everybody can get a chance to enjoy the music. But if you don't like the music, just turn it down. But you will enjoy the plays that's being shown.
So I'm getting a full, clean slate approval to use those highlights.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
I'm waiting on you to go ahead and get this magazine out, Mark. I'm telling you, man.
MarkRogersTV my goodness. I got so much going on, Wholesome One. I can't keep up with everything I'm trying to do. That would be phenomenal. I would love to produce a preseason magazine every year. It's obviously not going to happen this year because it's way too late. But yeah, my plate is beyond full.
What if this is one great idea for one of your shows? What if you released a first and second team MarkRogersTV All-American team?
So that's a great idea as well. And that leads me to what I used to do after the season. I was thinking about doing it preseason because a lot of players appreciated this on Twitter. So it hit me. This was several years ago. I just started going through each, I did my homework, I did my research with each conference, and I named an offensive and defensive player of the year. And I would send out a tweet, and it would say, congratulations, so-and-so, Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year, MarkRogersTV Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year, and put their stats on there. I'd put their Twitter handle, and most of these guys would come back at me and say that they obviously had no idea. I'm talking about doing this like 5 or 6 years ago. I might have had 300 subs. Not that they would know who I am now, but I'm just saying. And they seemed very appreciative of it. Yeah, that's a great promotion for the channel to do that. Yeah, preseason All-American team, a postseason All-American team,
I think that would
conference
be
players
sick.
of the year.
That would be cool, and you could get it tied in like with Twitter too. It's just like, hey, shout out to @so-and-so. You just made the official Mark Rogers TV first team All-American. Then, I mean, it takes time, but I'm saying you can do conference, you can do All-America teams, and I think they'll be very appreciative, and I think you can do it.
And who knows, maybe 20 years from now, when they're running off the, so-and-so made such and such, such and such, such and such All-American teams, that might be.
You never know, man. You got a brand, and I think it's an amazing idea, and I think you're the type of person who can absorb things from afar and appreciate it, and you might even have someone on there that a lot of people don't know of, which could lead to them going to say, hey, I gotta look up this guy. I gotta look up that guy. Oh, this guy is pretty dang good. I wonder what Mark saw in the guy. And, just it goes from there. But that's something I've always wanted to tell you, and I think you would really knock it out of the park if you had the time to do it.
Wholesome one, I appreciate it. I really do. Man, I'm buried with 22 channels, plus trying to figure out how to market them, get this going on Facebook and all over the place, Instagram, and all over the place. So yeah, John's got it right. I need a staff, not just me.
Yeah, Mark's taking applications, guys.
There we go.
MarkRogersTV @gmail.com. He's taking applications.
I can't imagine anybody's in the live chat that doesn't know where to find the Wholesome One. But in case you don't, got to get on over. You just heard him run down what he's got brewing right now, which is phenomenal, to do a highlight reel of every returning starter. That's big time production right there. And he's going to give you the legit breakdown. So head on over to Wholesome One Holloway right here on YouTube. You find it. Most of you already know where to find it, but this is even further encouragement to get on over there on a regular basis here now for the next few weeks and check out these highlight reels. That's phenomenal.
It's going to be sick. Tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to Corey Couch.
Very cool.
Have a great rest of your day, man. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it. Okay.
Everybody that contributed, thank you so much for that as well. We'll see you next week. Actually, next week with the Wholesome One, but we will be back at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So just about 50 minutes away from another edition of Miami Hurricanes Live, number 157 with Cam Underwood, State of the U. See you then.